Now, you all know that the dealers have many different tactics to make money off the consumers, probably 7 different ways. And a majority of people sometimes fall for it because they don't even know what to look for. Now, here are the top 25 sneaky car dealership tricks to avoid at all costs. And I want you guys to actually pay attention to this, right? First off, there's the old bait and switch trap, right? Although it's certainly not unique to the auto industry, the bait and switch scam is one of the oldest tricks in the book. You don't see it too much anymore, but it's important to be aware of it. Now, whether it's through an ad, an online post, or a conversation on the phone, the dealer promotes a great deal on a vehicle to lure the customer into the showroom. Now, upon arriving, however, the dealer informs the starry eyed buyer that the specific car from the promotion's just been sold, but a similar model is right there in the dealership for the taking, albeit at a higher price. Another thing to take into consideration is the car in the picture doesn't match the deal. Another more subtle version of the bait and switch trap is advertising that isn't quite false, but is a little bit misleading. The dealer is going to run an ad showing a fully loaded model, but advertise prices and payments for the base model. When a buyer enters the showroom, they realize the car they saw in the ad with the aluminum alloy wheels and booming sound system costs much more than the price listed in the ad. The small print smoke screen, right? Car ads come with a blur of fine print that dealers hope you never read, but you certainly should before you even walk into the showroom. That's because hidden within that minuscule font are disclaimers, stipulations, caveats, and conditions that render the offer moot for many buyers. The fine print is where you'll find that financing offers are reserved only for those with highest credit ratings, that large down payments are required, or that the offer is only available for those who finance through their dealership. Dealer added options is the next one. Sometimes dealers will advertise a car at a great price, but when the buyer enters the showroom, that price is suddenly much higher. That's because the advertised car now comes with what's called dealer added options, such as a sunroof, spoiler, PPF, which is paint protection film. These options, which the buyer never even asked for, can quickly add thousands of dollars to the advertised purchase price. Stay aware of that. Folding options into monthly payments. Even without the trickery of dealer added options, the dealer can still get you to spend more than what you want for things that you never were quoted for or never even asked for. And what happens is it gets rolled into your monthly payments. Now, in case of the hypothetical spoiler and a sunroof, for example, you might be reluctant to go for options like these if you're told they cost $1,700 and $700 extra, respectively, right? But if the dealer says they'll run you 28 extra dollars per month, the deal suddenly seems a whole lot sweeter. As I mentioned in previous videos, negotiating based on monthly payment is a huge no-no. You don't negotiate on monthly payment. A common tactic is for dealers to ask you upfront how much you want to spend per month. Never fall into this trap. If you say your budget's $400 a month, for example, the dealer can sell you virtually any car in the lot if they string the payments out into a long enough loan. Dealerships make their money in the financing department, so you got to be aware of the fact that they are going to find it advantageous to them to actually stretch out your payments. Now, if they can sell you a car you can't afford by stretching those payments out to 6 or 7 years instead of 5, they get the profit from that sale, as well as mountains of extra money in the form of interest you pay for 1 or 2 dozen extra months. So instead, determine how much you can afford each month and multiply it by 5 years, to find out what you can actually afford, and then shop in that price range. Another tactic a dealer uses against you is how you will be paying. So this common strategy is to basically get the buyer to reveal how they intend to pay for the car. Here to mum's the word. Since dealers make their money in the financing department, showing your hand only works in their favor. If you're paying cash or secured third-party financing, both of which are the same to the dealer, they're likely to jack up the price of the car to make up for what they know they won't make on financing your loan. If you reveal that you're seeking financing through the dealership, they might give you a great deal on the car because they know they can make up for it on the back end. Negotiate the price of the car first and keep financing options completely separate. Marking up the interest rate is a common tactic dealers use. And again, you can't blame any business for wanting to make money, but when there's 7 different ways they can make money off of you, it becomes a little bit of a challenge. So this is another way dealers can often sweeten deals up front and make it look like it's a loss on their back, but they end up making up for it in interest rates. Dealers will partner with third-party lenders that offer indirect loans that the dealers negotiate on behalf of the buyer. In exchange for setting up the loan, many of those banks allow dealers to mark up the interest rate and keep the difference for themselves. Now, If a lender approves a loan with a 6% interest rate, for example, the dealer can tell you've been approved at 8% interest and pocket that extra 2%. The fix to this is to always get pre approval from your own lender first so you know you walked away with the best deal possible. What is your bank offering? If you do tell your dealer that you've been approved for a loan, but you're willing to see if the dealer's financing division can beat that deal, the dealer's almost certain to ask what your outside lender offered. Here, too, keep your cards close to your vest. If the dealer knows you've been pre-approved for a loan with 8% interest, for example, but finds a lender willing to go to 6% without your knowledge, the dealer's going to come back to you and offer you 7% or 7.5% instead of actually offering you the best possible deal. So keep that in the back of your mind. When you're leasing a car, similar to interest rates, there's something called the money factor. And the money factor is just like interest, it'll get marked up. The so-called money factor, abbreviated as MF on your invoice, is a number in a decimal form that dealers use to calculate the APR of your lease. Should you choose to lease, which I always recommend you do, that is. It's a major part of your monthly payment, and dealers are known to jack up the money factor to pad their profits. Most people don't even ask to see it because they're not aware of it or don't know how to calculate it. Ask to see the money factor, multiply it by 2,400, and then you'll get your equivalent interest rate. For example, if the money factor is 0.00150, you multiply it by 2,400 to get 3.6%. If that's higher than the prevailing rate, you have room to talk them down. Another gimmick that dealers might play on you is when you see the phrasing "see dealer for details." One of the most common caveats that come with too good to be true offers is a message advising buyers to see dealer for details. This can include offers like free lifetime oil changes, but the details the ad advises you to see the dealer about often involve a nearly impossible gauntlet of hoops that you're gonna have to jump through to actually cash in on it. By luring you to the dealer for details, they've got what they wanted in the first place, you strolling into the dealership and sharing with them exactly what you want. My favorite trick that dealers play is their nonsense fees. Some fees you simply can't avoid when buying a car, such as sales tax and title and registration fees. You'll also almost certainly pay a destination fee, which the manufacturer charges for shipping the car from the factory to the showroom. But there are certain common fees, some that you should contest and most definitely avoid, even if it means you walking away at the 11th hour. These include advertising fees, loan payment fees, and market adjustment fees, all of which are already built into the price of the car. Now, we've discussed extended warranties in previous videos, but I want to emphasize extended warranties on leases. If you're leasing rather than buying a car like I've recommended, don't allow yourself to be talked into an extended warranty under any circumstance, unless you buy it after the fact and unless you know it's coming from the manufacturer. But don't allow yourself to be talked into an extended warranty under any circumstance when it comes to the lease. There are pros and cons to leasing. And one of the biggest pros is that you're covered by a bumper to bumper warranty for the entirety of the lease. By buying an extended warranty, you're literally just giving your money away. Again, when it comes to the residualized value of the vehicle, at least maturity, that's a different story. But again, you got to make sure that you're being covered for the most common repairs that are going to be needed over the term of the life of the car. VIN etching is another crazy tactic I've seen dealers use, and you have to be aware of it. And if you see it in there, you have to call them out. Now, what is VIN etching? VIN etching is a theft prevention method of questionable merit that's meant to really deter thieves by etching your VIN number, your vehicle identification number, into the windows of your car. The logic is they won't be able to make your car anonymous by removing its standard metal VIN plate on a dashboard, and therefore won't steal the car. First of all, this only works if the thieves understand this dynamic and they're not planning to chop the car and sell it for parts and aren't simply stealing it to go joyriding. Those are the two things that matter, right? If you do think VIN etching is worth the expense, it's almost always more expensive at the dealership than it would be at your local auto shop. Or you could just go get a DIY kit on Amazon for around $20 and just handle the job yourself.